This is a pretty big box. This box weighs 67 pounds, and as you can see, it's got a lithium-ion battery in it. Whew, time to get this thing open. Allpowers always goes through a lot of trouble to pack really well. I say it in every video that I do for Allpowers gear. Yep. Let's take a look at this. So lots and lots of packing material. You get this bag that has all of your accessories in it, and you get an instruction manual set in a nice little envelope. We don't need those. We do need these though. And then this foam has little handles in it to pull it right out, and there, oh my, get that whole thing in frame. That is a big boy, 67 pounds. Bring a friend. You're gonna need a friend to help you get this thing out of the box. Me, I don't have any friends. I gotta do it all by myself. Oh, but it does have nice handles on it. There we go. Those handles make it easy. And we'll put this whole box back together. Keep this box. If you ever have any warranty claim issues or anything, having this box will make it really easy to get it all set up for return shipment. Let's see what comes in this bag. Shouldn't be much because it's just a power brick. So a power brick needs a way to charge. And that's going to be one of the first things we're going to do is start this thing on the charging cycle. They can never ship these things full, so you always have to top them off. On the right side here, we have 2 expansion ports for 2 additional batteries. Imagine adding 2 more. Holy moly. On this side here, we have AC charge, we have overload protector, and we have an XT60 connector for your solar panels. On the back here, we have all of the specs. 2016 watt hours, 48 volts equals 42 amp hours. I'm not gonna run this at 48 volts. I'm gonna run this at 12 volts DC or 120 volts AC or whatever USB I want. Input 15 amps AC or 1000 watts of solar, 13 amps, between 12 and 150 volts. Holy moly, that's a very, very large range for solar. Car charger, 12 volts or 24 volts DC, depending on what type of car or I guess fire truck you happen to have. It will charge between 0 and 40 Celsius, which is 32 to 104 Fahrenheit. It will discharge between -10 to 40 Celsius and 14 to 104 Fahrenheit. And then output, this is where it gets awesome. The AC output, I'll show you some more awesomeness on the front. The AC output is 100 to 120 volts. 2500 watts max. That's that 2500 number I was telling you earlier. And it will surge up to 4000 watts. That means I can run my air conditioner. USB-A, 24 watts max, 2.4 amps. USB-A number 2, 5 volts, 3 amps, 9 volts, 2 amps, 12 volts, 1.5 amps, 36 watts max. USB-C, there's 2 of those, 5, 9, 15 volts at 3 amps, 20 volts at 5 amps, 200 watts max. You can run multiple laptops off of this thing. It has a 5525 port. No, hold on, it has 2 5525 ports, but they're topped out at 5 amps. And then it has a car port, an aux port, a cigarette lighter plug for us old farts, 12 volts, 10 amps, 120 watts max. So directly off of the DC ports, you can run your QRP radios, you can power your laptops, and then off the AC ports, you can also run your air conditioner and charge your cell phones and your tablets. Whew, crazy. And there is an app for your iOS device or for your Android. Pretty cool. And we are indoors for the display test. I have this thing plugged into AC input, and you can hear the variable speed fans inside. 1000 watts input to charge this thing up. Holy moly. 31 minutes to recharge from where it is at 67%. Not bad. So here are the ports on the front I was telling you about. USB-C, USB-C, and then you have 2 different kinds of USB-A ports. These are the 12 watt ports. And these are the 18 watt ports. So the 18 watt ports are the blue ones. And then over here, we have the aux port, the car port. And then down there is the 2 10 amp 5525 plugs. And then we have 1 20 amp. You can tell it's a 20 amp because it's got the little dog leg on the one side there for your sideways plugs. Another 20 amp, that's 2 20 amps. That's 3 20 amps. That's 4 20 amp AC outputs, and then look at this big boy in the middle here. You ready for this? Whew. That is a 30 amp style plug for your RV, but it says 20 amps max on the output. But at 4000 watts surge, I'll be able to run my air conditioner. That 4,000 will get it started up, that 2,500 will keep it running. We are over here in the kitchen laboratory. Let's figure out the dimensions on this thing. It is 18 inches wide. It is 14 inches deep. And for our height measurement across all the electrical ports in the front, it is 13.5 tall, it looks like. It's a big boy. And here we are, all charged up. 22 days of output power, but that is only because there's no load on it right now. Nothing is plugged in. We're gonna have to change that. All right, this is what I was talking about with a field day setup. Check this thing out. We have the battery pack running, 75 watts of output. We've got the USB-C powering a laptop. We have another laptop powered off of AC. We have the Astron power supply powered off of AC. 75 watts output, 19 hours of runtime like this. I am not gonna operate for 19 hours. It might be fun, but it ain't 19 hours worth of fun. And then we have the X6200 running FT8. We have my favorite band on the FT100, 100 watt radio, plugged into the tuner. We're running the N3FJP logging software, and we're doing some FT8 magic. Oh yeah, and these are the two laptops. So this is an HP Stream, and this is a MacBook Pro. But wait, 19 hours isn't enough? We've got solar panels here. And again, Allpowers packs these things well. Holy moly, this is a big one. Let me get this thing flipped over. It's upside down. Upside down means it gives you extra power. Let's turn this thing right side up. Just in case you were curious about how to use solar panels, it's written right on here, but I mean, it's fairly obvious. Place the solar panel under strong sunlight. Angle the solar panels toward the sunlight. Whoa. Do not cover the solar panels because they don't really work all that well in the dark. These things have leg supports for you. So they are self-supporting. 400 watt plus or minus 5%. Open circuit is 45 volts. Short circuit is 11.45 volts. Maximum power is 37.4 volts. Maximum power is 10.6 amps. Energy conversion rate is 19 to 22%, and that's actually considered good. Let's see what's in the bag. We have MC4 to XT60, lots and lots of little candy packs. Do not eat these. Instruction manual, MC4 to DC barrel jack, and then DC barrel jack size converter. So it looks like you could use this to power up one of those electric bikes. A whole bunch of beaners so you can hang this thing if you wanted to. And then it's sporting some MC4 connectors for you. So some good stuff there. So there's your MC4 on one end to XT60. I'm not sure I like these XT60s taking the world over. I still prefer power poles, but I have an XT60 to power pole adapter cable because I'm a ham and hams fix stuff. MC4 connectors on this end and a DC barrel jack on that end. There is a DC barrel jack adapter. Good stuff. This is a massive set of solar panels. Technically it's all one unit because they are all tied together. Look at this. We got our tape measure down here on the end. We're gonna take a long walk all the way to the other side. There is the 8-foot mark. So 8 foot 5 inches. And then as far as height goes, they are 3 foot 4 inches. And on the back side, each one of the panels has its own individual support leg to hold it up. Just be careful when you're setting it up to not bend the panels too much. They can take a little tiny bit, but not a whole lot. Take your time, do it right the first time. Earlier I showed you the 2 radios and the 2 laptops that I had set up for demonstrating what all you could do with this battery pack. Now I'm gonna put this thing to practical use and see how long it will last. This is kind of scary because I do some live streaming stuff, as you all know, and if my power goes out in the middle of the live stream, that might cause a little bit of a problem. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Turn this on. We have 94% power remaining, and it's telling me 17, there we go, 21 days remaining on the power. I'm gonna turn on the AC power, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to unplug from the wall, and I'm going to plug in to this socket down here. And my laptop just chirped to say that it was happy. But in addition to the laptop screen, we also have a secondary USB-C powered screen. So that's drawing some power. And then I run things like Raspberry Pis, and I do video projects like this Baofeng radio that's coming up on a future video. I recharge my headphones, I recharge my cordless mouse, I play around with HF radios, and then I have a 12-volt powered USB hub that does a lot of my heavy lifting. And right now there's only one thing plugged into it, so it's kind of a funny looking USB hub. And just so you don't think I'm going crazy, it actually does put out power. This is watching a YouTube video at 2 speed. Let's see where we are with day number 2. 62%, down from 94% yesterday. And this thing here fluctuates a little bit depending on what I'm doing, if I'm rendering a video or watching a YouTube video or doing a live stream or something along those lines. But we got 13 days remaining. I think the number's a little optimistic, but it doesn't really have much choice. It's all based on load. We're coming up on the end of Monday night. Oh, a little 28-watt spike there. We're down to 31% on the battery. I wanted to record this Monday night. This battery has been on charging my entire workstation, my entire life, from Sunday morning until Monday night after the live stream. And it turns out that Zoom uses quite a bit of power, but StreamYard does not. So, interesting fact. I'm wondering, this battery should last through the night, but it probably will not last all the way through tomorrow during the day. But we'll find out. Keep on trucking. Let's see what the magic window says this morning. 16%. We went 15% down overnight. Nice. This thing is going to die sometime today. 26 watts out. Ooh. It says 3 days remaining at 0, and then 8 hours remaining at 26. So we'll probably make it through the day today, I think. Getting close now, down to 5%. 1 day's left at 0 in and out, but that'll change as I continue working through the day. All right, 2 solid days worth of work, and she's out. Look at this. Out cold. That's your low voltage cutoff protection circuit. So we unplug this wire here, and we go back to shore power. And we're back to life. You just heard the laptop in the background go, yay, power. So now it's time to get this thing out in the sun and plug it into that massive solar panel and see how much time it takes to recharge. My back, my back. You know, fully drained batteries don't weigh any less than fully charged batteries. This thing's a beast. So we've got this thing parked in full sun for today. It's supposed to be a beautiful day out. Let's see how long it's gonna take to recharge. On the side, we have our XT60 connector. Press, lift, kind of holds itself up a little bit. And I've got the cable all wired in, the XT60 and the MC4s. Remember, these things are not polarized, so you have to be careful that you're putting positive and negative out on the right side here. But this is the cable that came with it, and this is the product it's supposed to go to, and they're all made by the same company, so leap of faith. Plugged in, and it should start charging itself. There it is. It's saying 7 hours to recharge, but it's still trying to find the best amount of sunlight off of the panels. 5 hours to recharge. That's not bad at all. Back up to 6 hours. There we go. Get some of the reflection off and you can see it. So 264 watts of input, 5 hours to recharge. We are still doing our charging, so I want to check to see if this thing is RF quiet or not. And so I have, hi everybody, I have my tiny SA, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see the screen, but I got to do this out here when it's in the sun and charging. And there's a little spike at 929 megahertz, and I don't think that's this device. Yeah, that's not bad at all. It's starting at 0 and it's going to 4 gigahertz, and let me do a screen save, and so I can share this with you guys. All right, it is saved. Let me show you why I don't think that spike is us. I'm not sure what that thing is, but it's got 3 antennas. All right, now we're in the kitchen for a little bit of kitchen tech talk time. I should make that a new series on the show. Kitchen tech talk time. Oh, let's make it Tuesdays. Kitchen tech talk Tuesdays. What do you think? All right, so back to the deal. This is the tiny SA, and I have a whole bunch of stuff here. I have a noisemaker and a load. I have an AC to DC power supply, one of our favorites, our Astron here. And I have the battery. The battery is off. There's no light on. Nothing is happening. I can't turn on any of the functions. Nothing. Battery is off. Just to prove a point, the battery is off. So the noise that you're seeing up here is not from the battery, and the power supply is off. It's not from the power supply. That is just background noise. So let's turn on the power supply. Well, before we turn the power supply on, it is not plugged into the battery. It is plugged into the kitchen next to the microwave. Let's turn the power supply on and watch this green bar across the bottom. That's one sweep, so nothing's going to move until that green bar finishes. So we've got a little spike at 929 megahertz, that one I was talking about earlier. So that's just the amount of background noise. And let's turn on, the power supply is doing nothing. So essentially there's probably nothing happening internally. There's no crank, there's no load, there's no nothing. That's what this thing is. This is a MakerHawk load, electronic load device. And it needs power, so it doesn't forget all of its settings. So we turn that on, and it is now drawing 1 amp. See if you can see that on the camera. It is now drawing 1 amp, and I can draw more. So that's 6 amps, 7 amps, 8 amps. And let's take a look at our Tiny SA. I'm not seeing much different. So now what I need to do is rewire all of this so it's running off of battery power only. So let's do that. All right, turn off the power supply, unplug the load tester. We're gonna take the load tester here and we're gonna plug this into our Allpowers power station. We're gonna take our DC power supply, our Astron power cord, and we're gonna plug that into the power station. And long press the button to turn it on. And right now it's not producing any output because everything's turned off. So let's turn AC on. And then let's turn the power supply on. And it takes a couple of seconds for this thing to do its thing. So you'll see this light here turn red when it is ready. All right, it's ready. We're now drawing 79 watts out. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but that thing started spinning. So let's take a look up here. You can see that she's spinning. And she's drawing 2.67 amps. Turn that up. 6 amps. 8 amps. So almost 200 watts output. And we're seeing something different on the screen here. 25 megahertz spike. Over here is number 1, 25 megahertz, and then there's a couple of other little spikes, but that's not terrible. I mean, you can work with that. All right, let's add a little more oomph to it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the wall power plug and I'm gonna plug it in, and we're gonna start charging this battery while we are draining the battery. And we'll see input. Should pop up once it realizes there's some input there. There we go. So now we're putting in 400 watts and we're taking out 200 watts. How's that look for noise? That's that same 900 megahertz spike. We've got a spike at 70 megahertz, 4 meters. What I want to do is I want to change the span on this. Measure, where's span? Let's do center frequency of 14.300 megahertz. Let's pick on the Maritime Mobile Net again. I seem to be getting a lot of love mail lately. And we've got a span of 28 megahertz. And that is minus 50 dB, so that's pretty low down on your noise. Let's do center of our other favorite frequency, 7.2 megahertz. And there's a little spike there. That spike is at 11 megahertz. Our span is 14 megahertz in either direction, so that's within the range of the device. And we are 50 dB down. There you go. Now let's start turning stuff off. I'm going to unplug the wall charger. Let me back you up so you can see what's going on here. 989 watts input. I'm going to unplug the wall charger. And that noise level dropped down a little bit more. It still says minus 50 range. Okay, let's turn down the power draw on the battery load tester. So that's 0. No change there. Let's turn that off. It's like a little less noise. Something's cycling. That might be the washing machine. That might be the refrigerator behind me. Let's turn off the AC inverter. Yeah, I think that's the refrigerator making that noise. And now we're at -90. So everything has calmed down. We're going to take the AC power for the DC load tester and plug that back into the wall. So we're not running the AC inverter. And then we're going to take the cigarette lighter plug here, plug that in, so that lit up red, which then puts power out to power poles. So I am going to plug in the load tester to the power poles. And all the while, y'all should be able to see the tiny SA. Let me turn up the load here. There's too much stuff to get in frame. So we have 0 watts DC output. We've got the DC on. We're plugging into the cigarette lighter. We're plugging into the battery load tester. Let's start drawing some power. 37 watts out. We're drawing 3 amps with the load tester. And there's your noise level. Let's turn off the DC power. 0. I don't see the noise level changing much. So these spikes that you're seeing over here are at -70 dB. Well folks, there you have it, the Allpowers R2500. This battery is a beast. The solar panels that I got with this are also a beast. Make sure you have some friends or a good back, or take your time with this stuff because it is heavy. Oh hey, I almost forgot. Next time you see this big honkin' battery, it's gonna be on my RV channel. I'm gonna power my RV and see how long we can make it last with this 30 amp plug right here. So check out the link above and make sure you are subscribed to my RV channel so you don't miss when that one comes out. So I did a couple of different tests for you. I did a HF noise test for you. I did some charging, I did some discharging, I did some runtime, some real life scenario type stuff. This will keep you happy if you plug in the battery and the solar panel for a very long time. If you don't plug in the solar panel, it'll get you working for 2 solid days. And you can probably get a 3rd day out of it if you weren't dumb like me and left everything running overnight when no one was using it. So don't do that. Turn your stuff off at night and save your battery power when there's no sun to charge up and you're sleeping. And I do that more often than you'd think. Especially the Starlink. The Starlink takes up a lot of battery power just to sit there overnight and not do anything useful for me. Conservation, solar power, battery power. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but when I plugged it into the AC socket in the kitchen, it turned into a UPS. So now you've got a UPS, a power station, it's portable, it has solar for recharging, it has a whole bunch of different things you can do with it. You could probably plug this thing into your car and keep it charged if you built yourself an XT60 adapter cable. All kinds of cool stuff. There are links in the description down below where you can get some more information on this battery pack. And if this battery pack is too big for you, Allpowers does make some smaller ones. I got plenty of videos on them as well. There's a video right over here I think you'll enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.